Hello everyone, this is Old School with WhatTheBuck.net with our San Francisco 49ers preview video. Sorry this video is late, but it's been a long week. Hopefully it won't be a long day Sunday, however, as our Buccaneers travel west to face the San Francisco 49ers. That west trip has always been a pain in our backsides, though we seem to have got the monkey off our back with the win against the Cardinals this year. The Bucs are going to go into San Francisco against a team that's record does not truly represent what they seem to put on the field, and certainly not what the experts expected coming into the season. With a quarterback switch to Troy Smith seeming to give the 49ers some new life, Frank Gore in the backfield, one of the best backs in the NFL, despite not getting a whole lot of credit. Vernon Davis at tight end, who's an absolute stud. Michael Crabtree at wide receiver, who is really coming into his own. This is an offense that can absolutely put points on the board when they want to, though when you look at the data, they're 29th in the league at 17.8 points, with us sitting at 20 with 20.9 points, which is amazing as an old-time Bucs fan to see us actually at a higher ranking than someone we're playing in the offensive side of the ball. Now, that all being said, that was with Alex Smith at the helm, and now we've got Troy Smith at the helm, former Heisman quarterback. Went back and watched him play against the Rams in the last week's game. Some things to keep in mind with regards to Mr. Smith. He is a lot smarter than I gave him credit for as a quarterback. That's not an indictment of his personality. I just didn't think he was that bright a quarterback before anecdotally watching him in college. The kid certainly does seem to be able to diagnose defenses. Now, one thing that you've got to keep in mind with Troy Smith is he is a small quarterback. He's a 6-foot-tall quarterback. And what teams are going to have to do, and what the Rams were not able to do consistently, is to keep him square in the pocket and then put pressure up the middle to try and make him throw over the outstretched arms of the defensive tackles. It's not a tough formula. Any team that's gone with a short quarterback or an undersized quarterback has faced this. They're going to have to go into waggles and move the pocket to give him some throwing lanes. And I didn't see the Rams doing that enough last week. That's what the Bucs are going to have to do this week. Now we'll get the benefit of having an injury, which will have Barry Sims in at the left tackle spot facing Styles G. White, who hopefully will be able to get untracked and kind of get some pressure in here on the quarterback. Additionally, on the right-hand side, you got Anthony Davis, 11th overall pick, who's been playing absolutely horrible football. When you look at the pressure numbers, actually Joe Staley, who's the starter at the left tackle, and Anthony Davis giving up 19 and 21 QB pressures, respectively. 7 QB sacks, a result of Davis on the right-hand side, who got absolutely destroyed by Chris Long. Now, we don't have Kyle Moore going in this week, so we'll have the Crowder-Bennett experiment, unless we go to our three-man front, which point we'll have Gerald McCoy out there facing Davis. All of those matchups benefit us. Now, those matchups don't mean anything if Frank Gore can simply run the ball for 5 yards a clip, because the 49ers will absolutely take advantage of that and do that all day long if you give them the opportunity to. Frank Gore, when you watch him on tape, is a beast. The guy's legs never stop moving. He's got great vision, and it sounds like a broken record, but the Bucs defense is going to have to find a way to gap and wrap like we said last week. They're going to have to get in those gaps, get a hold of him, and get him to the ground. Smith did not look particularly good in third downs. I think Joe Bucs fan pointed that out. This is not an offense that I think is particularly powerful through the air, though they have plenty of skill. I think that's the area where we actually have an advantage. And looking at the matchup of our corners and actually our safeties, knock on wood, against these receivers and against Smith, I think we have an opportunity to take advantage of him. He does do what young quarterbacks do. He tends to segment himself to one side of the field on the snap. He does tend to telegraph the direction he's going with the ball, and I think that our corners and our safety should be able to take advantage of that and get some turnovers, hopefully, especially if we get some pressure from the defense. Now, on the offensive side of the ball for the Bucs this week, again, there's no mystery. We've already talked about the Mike Williams story. He's going to be playing, and that's not what this video is about. But this team is starting to come around a little bit, and it's nice to see LeGarrette Blount had a nice game last week. Cadillac Williams came in and starting to find a little bit of a niche. I mean, the 60-something yards is a bit of a misnomer, or a little bit of an aberration, because he had the 45 yards or so on that one draw play. But with him being able to be productive, I saw or heard someone mention the 1-2 punch of LeGarrette Blount and Cadillac Williams, and I think something people are forgetting, and I know Steve White and I disagree on this. We actually have a 1-2-3 punch with Ernest Graham back if his head's right after the passing of his mother. This is a situation where when Ernest is in there at fullback, you can hand the ball to the up back, and he can crack that thing off for a 50-yard gain. That is something that the 49ers have not seen a lot of tape on, because it just hasn't been there, and I think that bodes well for the Bucs in general. Now, on the offensive line, I don't think we're going to see Trueblood again this week. I looked at the injury report. He still shows up as injured, so we'll have James Lee on the right tackle. We're going to stick with Fain at the center, and it would appear that we're going to have another week of Ted Larson at left guard. Now, if they can keep Josh Freeman standing up against a defense that is absolutely loaded, it's not just Justin Smith on the predominantly three-man front, but you've got Willis and Spikes in the middle with that linebacking core, and they've got Clements out there in the corner. Now, when you look at the ratings, Scouts Inc. actually has their defensive backs rated higher than ours, their corners and safeties, which is interesting to me. I can see the safeties potentially, but I would take our corners over their corners. But that defense is aggressive. They floated the ball quickly. I did see Steven Jackson do some good things against them. You can use their speed against them. They tend to try and guess, or at least they seem to in the Rams game. I haven't watched every game they played, but they tended to want to guess on the snap count. So we can use cadence to try and draw them off sides. I saw the Rams being very successful dropping screens over the top of the upfield pressure, which means that the same things that are typically open in the traditional West Coast offense, that is the root of Greg Olson's offense, should be there. Whether it's the screen passes to the actual back, whether it's the wide receiver screens on a bubble, or whether it's the drag routes. With Sammy Strouder, I believe, still doubtful. I'm not sure who's going to run those routes, but those routes should be open. Now, I do look to see Arrelious Benn continue to impress. This is something that we talked about very early in the year. He's starting to get that playing time. This is a guy who every snap will get open. His routes are very, very good, and he's not getting covered by top talent out there. So if Josh gets comfortable with him, I think you'll see him light it up a little bit. So running game, we got to continue to try and establish some sort of an identity. Hopefully this offensive line will start to get a little bit hard-nosed, and we can generate some yards with LeGarrette Blount, keep control of the ball. It's just basic football talk, right? 4 yards down and you win the game. Got to run the ball. Run the ball sets up play action, and then all of a sudden our offense looks like it did last week against the Carolina Panthers. On the defensive side of the ball, I don't care if we give up 100 yards. Do I want to? No. I mean, I watched one of the other videos, and they're talking about they gave up 100 yards to the fourth-string Carolina Panther running back, and this is going to be a problem. Hey, I'll give up 200 yards running if we win the game. I don't care, right? Coach Morris said it, stats are for losers, but that's really all that we can look at. And statistically, these two teams are very close. 22nd and 23rd in offensive yards per game, off by 0.3 yards per game. I mean, these guys are very, very close, despite the fact that there's a 3-win swing on the records. We go into the game a 4-point underdog, depending on the line. I do think we're going to take this game. I think we're going to take it by more than a field goal. I think it's going to be about a 10-point spread, hoping for a 27-17 victory for the Bucs. But then again, I don't ever bet on football. So that's what I'm looking for. Looking for Styles White and the three-headed beast on the left-hand side to get some pressure. Hopefully we'll see something out of our linebacking core. I think we'll see more Dakota Watson this week because I still think Quincy is dinged up a little bit. So hopefully Dakota's going to give us 100% consistent effort this week and not be up and down. Same thing for Styles. I'm hoping he got ridden a little bit for what looked like some loafing on film. May not have been loafing. If it wasn't, my bad, but what I saw on tape looked like it was some loafs there. That's it for this week. Hopefully you liked the video. Rate it up. Let me know what you think. We'll be back after the game for a post-game review. And the reason I've got this silly mustache is for the Movember movement supporting prostate cancer research. I'll have it till the end of November. If you want to donate, go to clashofthestash.com. You can donate. It's a good cause, but I understand money's tight. Thanks, guys.